power creep genuinely ruining Yu-Gi-Oh? I gotta hear what you guys have to say. It's not about power creep anymore. It's just straight up going off of a cliff. You know what? This isn't even power creep. This is like power jump. Seriously. If Ishizu decks are going to exist, how do you get more powerful than that? That's actually fair, but to be fair, I said that about 7-8 years ago when Cleaforts were out. I was like, yo, a pendulum summoning tributing deck that can work under vanities and skill drain. How do you get more powerful than that? And here we are. So I actually have a few problems with power creep in Konami right now. I think that these things should be addressed. And if they aren't addressed, then Yu-Gi-Oh will get more and more unfun. I understand that every so often Konami likes to introduce a newer strategy that's really, really good and then make the other strategies slightly worse. But when there's only one good new strategy, you have a problem. A serious problem. In my experience at YCS Pasadena, playing any old deck felt terrible. I quit playing Yu-Gi-Oh when a Layer of Darkness deck came out. Came back last month. My friend, you chose a terrible time to come back. Funny thing is Mystic Mind seems healthy. Dog, the fact that decks have to play or rely on these really toxic cards to be able to play, I have to think about, yo, I gotta prevent Tearlament from playing. So I gotta like Artifact Scythe lock them, or I gotta use like Mystic Mind to stop them. The deck themselves are bad. I just have to use really toxic cards to keep up. I played Tri-Brigade Pure, which was a very, very competitive deck last year. And I got clapped up by anybody playing any resemblance of new cards. My friend was playing Sprite Live Twins, which is arguably not even a good version of Live Twins. I never had a chance to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That's crazy that you can literally pick up an older deck. Any older deck you pick up, you're not winning. It's not winning. It reminds me of that one time where your friend, he just gets into Yu-Gi-Oh! So he picks up his old cards and you know, you go clap him up real quick just to show him how the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. That's what it feels like when you pick up an old deck in the new format right now. At least for me. Since the introduction of Sprite and Tearlament, the only decks that have been good are Sprite and Tearlament, or a deck that plays Sprite or Tearlament cards. It feels like you have to play Dimensional Shifter or Necro Valley or a Mystic Mind. Like you have to play these toxic ass Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards just to keep up. Just to keep up. And keep in mind, these particular cards prevent you from playing a particular deck, which means that there's only so many decks to play from. Fluundereeze, Exo Stepsisters, Sprite with Dimensional Shifter. This is just, At least in older formats, when we were being toxic, Mystic Mind and Gozen Match were problems. But, you know, just draw the out. Now, don't even think about drawing the out because they got the out to yo out that outs the out. Get out. Oh boy, I can't wait for the cards to banish face down because it's the only form of removal that matters anymore. Bro, I have never been a fan of sending cards off of my opponent's deck in extra deck. It just feels so corny and unfair. It's like burn, like a deck out strategy. And that's pretty much what we're head towards. Like that seems to be the answer. Have you guys noticed though? Runic banishes from the opponent's deck. Tearlament Ishizu sends cards off the opponent's deck to the graveyard. Then there's Kashtira, which will banish from the opponent's deck. Have you guys noticed that Konami makes these unfair mechanics and then just like, hey, let's do it again? I wonder if Kashtira Runic is a thing, my guy. What the fuck? Stop. Darkwing Blast gave us 3 good decks. It gave us Kashtira, it gave us Tearlament, it supported Sprite. Yet the only thing that seems to be a deck is Tearlament. And the only thing that seems that's going to get enough support is Tearlament. It doesn't help that Konami gives us archetypes like Goaty, which, I mean, I guess they could have used that to like, I don't know, make a game-saving archetype, but Goaty's only good with Sprite. I feel like Kashtira and Tier will be Tier 0 when the February set comes out with all of the other Kashtira support. Oh, great! 1 Tier 0 format to 2 Tier 0 formats, and we still won't be able to play any of our old decks. Great. Perfect. That sounds fun. What do you think you can do to fix it or make it healthy again? You're right. You're right. Let's look towards a solution. First thing I think has to be done is tone down this Tearlament Ishizu thing. Ishizu is just ridiculous. And there's so many facets of it that's just stupid. The fact that Tearlament can play on your opponent's turn. Who the f thought of that? Who the f thought that the next power creep of Yu-Gi-Oh is playing on my turn and playing on your turn? It feels like a prerequisite to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh right now. We already hated that Fluendery said our turn. A Shizu tier limit just says our turn with bigger steps. Hand traps existed for years? My guy, you're not even understanding what we're saying. Hand traps take preventative measures to prevent the opponent from finishing their turn as optimally as they want to. A Shizu tier limit literally plays on your turn. Bro, there are times where a Shizu tier limit will summon more monsters than you on your turn. And you went first. How is that even fair? And the fact that these new strategies have insulated protection against hand traps, Nibiru is useless when Sprite and Tearlaman don't care. One will summon Rukalos before you can Nibiru him. The other one literally says you can't summon Nibiru. What tech would be brought in to increase power creep? Why the f would I want to do that right now? The only thing I'm trying to increase is your mom's commitment to me. Thoughts on the chain mechanics now? You know, the chain mechanic was pretty cool until we get to Chain Link 7 every turn. Another crazy thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! It's literally falling in on itself, is that all of the cool mechanics on Yu-Gi-Oh! Are starting to like bite them in the ass. Because every game has a Chain Link 7 now, thanks to tier limit. A Shizu games take really long. And a Shizu tier limit player can, they can take about 20 minutes just for our turn, and then another good 10 minutes just for their turn if you don't play on their turn. That means cards like Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, Red Resonator, and Skullmark Ladybug of Doom are like prime Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I don't know about you, but the best way to lose is either being decked out, Exodia, or being burned to death. I know you guys love those, right? You guys love that. That's interactive Yu-Gi-Oh. Bro, power creep is so ass in Yu-Gi-Oh. Set rotation time? You know, a set rotation might be in order, but the problem with that is we still just have to deal with tier limit, and that would be the only deck. I mean, imagine if set rotation were to happen, Flundereese would be out. So would probably Exo Sister. That would mean just play tier limit or Sprite. Set rotation is, it doesn't seem to be a problem for now. They've pretty much already rotated it out.
As far as power creep goes, it's a matter of how fast it happens, what really hurts the game in the long term. The rate of power creep is what affects the community, especially in a physical game like this because cards are a big investment. Before, power creep was once a year, but now your investments are lucky to last 2 or 3 months. You need a $300 to $600 budget every few months instead of once a year.
Yo, with Doodle, I swear I have some of like the best community that like puts out educated responses, because that's exactly what it feels like. There are so many decks that were being played 6 months ago that are complete utter dog water. Punk. Anything that played Hockley Fibers. You remember when Adventure Token was good? The fact that Adventure Token was actually a solvable problem too is like, it didn't even need to get solved. It just got power crept out. We wanted to ban Hulk. Now we want to bring Hulk back already. Oh man, I fucking hate Yu-Gi-Oh! And his power creep.